So we have here the 4 modules of Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and we have on the other side GP, and we will do an integration between both. Is that right?
That's correct. We're going to be showing the invoices being synchronized as we do the time reporting.
Okay, so as we are the 4th module, you can use all the integration systems that are available at the market to do the integration. So you can use BizTalk server, you can use Scribe, you can use the Dynamics connector, or even write your own web services to do the integration. So it's up to you what you prefer there. So for today's presentation, which one will you use?
We're going to use E1 Smart Connect product for synchronization.
Okay, okay. Great. So, and just for you to know what the process will be, so we do a time entry, then we create a timesheet in CRM, we create an invoice and a preview of this invoice in CRM, then we trigger the billing and hand it over to Dynamics GP.
Correct.
And then we review and post the invoice in GP, and after that we update the invoice in CRM. So that's what we want to show to you, and I now just hand over the cable to you.
Excellent. We're actually going to kind of go out on a limb compared to some of the presentations and actually use live data. We've got 2 virtual machines running here to kind of emulate an employee, and then on the other machine we're logged in as kind of a project manager, so you can see how this will work. As I mentioned, the actual synchronization of the data is going through E1 Smart Connect product today. You could use the other synchronization tools that are out there. You just make sure that our virtual machines are out. So on this virtual machine here, we're going to have our Great Plains running. I've got the Smart Connect product running as well. So let's go ahead and emulate a employee making a time entry. We'll make use of the CRM-Project's fast time entry screen for this. And our example that we're going to show today, because I want to focus on the integration part of it, we're not going to get into a lot with the different time recording entries you can use. This could synchronize on your invoice. It could also have your mileage, travel expenses, all of that information could be on the invoice and being synchronized back and forth. The other thing that I've already got in place is the product catalog is fully integrated from Great Plains to CRM. That allows us to have the people in Great Plains actually set up the products, control the billable rates, define it there, while in CRM your project managers can be setting up the services that are going to be provided and who's providing those services. That can be integrated and link that back and forth between GP and CRM. So I've already synchronized things over. And I was hoping Bert would take a little bit longer to talk while we booted up the machine, so we're waiting for the Internet Information Server to spool up here. Let's go ahead and make sure, there it comes. All right, so we have our fast time entry window. Let's go ahead and do a time recording for Monday. We'll say we started at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was just a 2-hour session. And I'm going to record this against the business process review phase of our project. And we'll give it a title. We'll just say we had our project kickoff meeting. We'll go ahead and save that time entry in CRM. So now you can see that the time entry has showed up there. If we go over to our other server here, other computer. What we're going to look at now is the project manager at the end of a billing period is ready to go ahead and review the time recordings that have been put into the system, generate the invoice. What we don't want to have to do is go over to Great Plains and have somebody take maybe a printed out report of all the time entries and essentially re-enter them by hand in into Great Plains and generate the invoice there. I do apologize for some of the delay here, but we get everything spooled up so that I can show this. It was really important. I wanted to show this happening in a live environment scenario going. Okay, so we're going to load up our project that we've defined out there. From the project window, you can go ahead and perform your billing and so forth. The one thing I will do once our project loads up here is go ahead and I'm going to force a recalculate so that I know our time entry shows up on our project. Typically, you wouldn't have to perform a calculate, but with the cache internet that's taking place for the information in my virtual environment here, I just want to make sure that you guys are able to see the time entry showing up. Okay. Here on our project, we can see that the 2 hours is showing up here. We've even got our cost information showing up. Let's go ahead now and step through what we really want to see. And hopefully now that I've hit all the different servers and everything, stuff will start picking up a little bit here. First thing you want to do is go in and create a project billing timesheet. So this is going to be for the period that we want to bill our customer for. We'll just say for this week. Give it a time, give our timesheet a name. And create our timesheet out there. What you'll notice here, our timesheet gets created and CRM-Project automatically went out and found all of the billable entries that can be included on this timesheet based on that period. So we're seeing the one time entry that was made by Gary Wood. Let's go ahead and flag that for billing. And save that, and at this point your project manager will be ready to generate that invoice. Our invoices are going to use a two-step process today. The concept is I'm going to create an invoice in CRM, but it's going to have an approval. Maybe the director wants to approve it, another financial, somebody from accounting wants to approve it, because it'd be a lot nicer to delete that invoice here in CRM and regenerate it versus once it's already in Great Plains and having to go into Great Plains and clean it up. At this point, with CRM-Project, we've hit the option to create the invoice. So our invoice has already been created out there based on the billable entries that we've selected. If I come over and take a look at our timesheet, let's go ahead and open this invoice up and you'll see what's been created. And this is what we're going to end up synchronizing to Great Plains. Right now you can see the invoice is in a pending approval state. We can go in and see the line entry for the item that we're going to have billed to our client. We close that out. Let's go back into our project here and finish the billing cycle. So we've already created the invoice, and I'm going to go ahead and hit process billing. Oops. Make sure that invoice is there. Once we hit process billing, at this point now, E1, the Smart Connect product, has picked up that that invoice has been approved to be submitted over to Great Plains. We've got some workflows that are taking place in the backgrounds when we hit the process billing to mark all of the time entries as being approved by the manager. The invoice, of course, is being updated that it's ready to be submitted to Great Plains. You could also add extra functionality to that. Let's open the invoice here in CRM. What you'll notice is now that we've sent the invoice over to Great Plains, everything becomes read-only. Once that invoice is in Great Plains and being managed there, we don't want people changing it here in CRM at this point. So let's take a look at that in GP. And I'm still waiting on a workflow to finish. Let's make sure that it's finished over here. And here's our invoices showing up in GP. Again, I apologize for the two virtual machines running slower than we'd like, but we can open this invoice, and now in Great Plains, your accounting person can go ahead and manage the invoice out of Great Plains, print your invoice out and send it to the customer if you want. What I'm going to do at this point is actually emulate a posting operation taking place in GP. What we'll do is kind of emulate the fact that the invoice has been paid. We'll be able to go back into CRM and see that it is automatically reflected as being paid for us. And certainly you could, make use of the functionality inside of Great Plains as far as how you want to handle it. This invoice I happen to bring into GP as a SOP transaction. It doesn't have to come through that way. You can do it as a regular invoice document. The synchronization can still take place. What I want to do now is jump in here to the Smart Connect product. And what we're doing with invoices, the way we set this up a lot of times for my clients on the synchronization back to CRM, I don't do that real time. I'll set it up on a schedule basis. And the reason being is if we have a lot of invoices in that batch that are being posted, I don't want to have web service calls going on during the posting operation of that batch, so we let it finish. Set up a synchronous schedule mapping to run maybe every hour, nightly, whatever's good. Let's go ahead and run this map by hand. And so you can see that it found the record out there, and now it's going to synchronize that update to the invoice back over to CRM for us. Excellent. So we're back on our project. We can go ahead and open up this invoice. Now, again, the other thing, and I'll show you some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that's taking place, but I have a workflow that runs. Once this invoice is being flagged as paid in GP, in that workflow we can set up notifications to go to the project manager, letting them know that the invoice has been paid. The other advantage to this is our project managers, without access to Great Plains, can see which invoices are open for their customers against their projects and which ones have been paid. Now you can see I've refreshed the screen and the synchronization is updated the status of our invoices being paid. Kind of shows you an end-to-end synchronization. Obviously it's a little slow running two virtual machines on one laptop here, but the advantages to it and the ability with CRM-Project with how it's fully integrated into CRM to be able to do this kind of synchronization works out very well. We've done this with Smart Connect product, use that one quite a bit, especially with Great Plains. You could do it with the Dynamics Connector, Scribe, those tools that you have available to you. But a lot of our clients really like the fact that those invoices are in GP and the people that are doing the billing out of GP don't have to worry about all the time entries, which ones are going to be billable, which ones are not.
So Eric? We have been talking, I guess this morning or yesterday morning, about some other advantages that we have because we are using the CRM product catalog too.
Correct. Yep. What we're looking at there is like I mentioned at the beginning of this, CRM-Project ties services to products inside of CRM. We use the products to know how you want to build it. That way we can make use of your price list, discount list, that type of thing. So we'll take a service, tie it to a product. With the synchronization, it opens it up so that in Great Plains, the same products are in Great Plains. For this demo, I didn't actually enter any of our products into CRM. I simply synchronized all of the products from GP over to CRM when I was setting this all up. If I take a look at our product catalog, you'll see that. What I really like about it was kind of as I started doing these integrations for XRM1 with CRM-Project, really works out nice that these price levels, I've got multi-currency turned on, let's take a look at USA. These price levels and all the pricing information, a lot of time your project managers don't necessarily have that information or have to worry about it now. We can handle that in Great Plains. What your project managers can do is assign services to each employee, and then a service is linked to a product. Here's an example of the price list. We can see the price list items showing up. All of this information is being synchronized with GP real time. So we make changes in GP to product and pricing information for our services. It'll be reflected in CRM-Project. As you start recording new time entries or set up new projects, all of that pricing information reflected here as well. Yes?
Can you do the hourly rate based on the customer and not consultant?
Correct. Yes, you can. So you would set the price level, the price list for that customer, and then that price list will define each product and how they're being billed, the hourly rate for those products. So by customer, if you want to bill them just one rate for everything that's being done, it's just one product that you would assign.
But we fully support all functionality of Microsoft CRM, so you can have the standard product price list, you can have separate price list for special customers, and you can even override the price when you are in a specific order.
It does support, if you do a write-in product in CRM, especially with the Smart Connect product and the translations we have and the ability to transform that data, certainly can bring that over to GP then as a non-inventory item and have that shown on your invoice as well. Today I was just showing one-time entry, but we use it a lot for all of our travel management and billing for travel times, travel receipts.
I understand the virtual machine issue. In real-time environments, though, how is the synchronization? Is it quick?
Be honest with you, in every practice run, and I've probably practiced this darn thing 30 times, it's been just phenomenal.
So that's what we expect.
I think my nice fancy laptop here got a little bit of stage fright on me, but yeah, it's fast. It works very well. I'm actually quite taken aback at how slow this was today.
But therefore it was a real life demo.
That's why they
So
Yeah.
it's not recorded.
Everybody, the Microsoft guys that we've been meeting with kept telling me I should have this recorded instead, and I may do that next time.
Where are the sales tax and distributions covered? Do you make any of those adjustments in the CRM side, or is it only when it goes over to GP? Because as you know, sales tax, especially when you're dealing with expenses and some types of services in different jurisdictions have different sales tax treatments. So if you're generating the invoice in CRM initially, you have to have all your sales tax rules in CRM?
So not necessarily. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to, from a technical perspective, we can synchronize the information in that, but I do want to let Bernd answer the question from how you would define that in CRM.
So we have built up an VAT or sales tax framework inside of CRM-Project 2, so that it can be used to store there the information which tax is required for which product. This is only used by smaller customers which do not have an ERP system, for example. All the bigger customers that have an ERP system just put over the net amounts and then do all the tax things in their ERP system.
Okay. So you're just setting over the bill of items over to your ERP system, and let it handle the distributions and the sales tax and exchange rates all from within your, where it's actually controlled.
Yeah.
And that's how it did happen today. If you were to look at that transaction now, I won't try to open it because my virtual machines are running so slow, but in this demo I just did today, GP actually did commission distributions for us as that invoice was posted. The one thing that I was going to put on the demo and just didn't want to take up too much time, but you can actually show, we can show that back in CRM now too.
Now, if you made an adjustment to that invoice, because it's an unposted invoice in GP, would that be reflected back in?
If you make an adjustment to the invoice in GP before you post it, yes, it's reflected. I could have also set this sync, and I have clients where the invoice is read-write until it's actually posted. So we can make adjustments to the invoice in CRM and reflect them then real time back over to GP. Generally we don't. Once it's in GP, that's also why I did that approval process. Because most of you know, once an invoice is in GP, it's kind of a pain to go delete it. Especially when you're project managers, a lot of times you don't have licenses for them in GP. With this environment and this synchronization, because CRM-Project handles creating those invoices as well as it does it for my clients, it's made it really nice to be able to create that invoice, automatically notify somebody that an invoice is waiting for their approval. As soon as they approve it, it dumps it over to GP.
Another question, what happens when you have multiple consultants working on one project and you want to combine all their hours into one invoice? How does that work?
That's a standard scenario of CRM-Project, so you can have multiple consultants with the same rate or with different rates there. The CRM-Project have a look which services are to be built there, and it takes the right product then. And you can choose if you want to have a standard service for each consultant that they provide, or even a specific service that they provide in this project, or even they can write into each activity that they put into the system which service they just provided.
You can see on the screen now the billing timesheet that I was working with. It only had one entry from Gary Wood. If there would have been other employees that also made entries, as well as external consultants, they don't have to be CRM users. You can have external consultants making an time entry through maybe a portal, or they just submit their time and project manager enters it. That would all be shown in here. Your travel receipts could be shown, mileage for travel if you wanted to go for that. All of it on a single timesheet, and then it goes on one invoice. And your invoices would be by customer.
How about cases?
Cases is
related to a project.
Yeah. So we have this request quite a few times right now. So we will have in one of the upcoming roll-ups the ability that you build cases into a project too. So at the moment you can connect the cases to a project, and we will add the functionality at, I guess, Q1 of next year, so that you are able to build the cases in your project too. So at the moment we support all the standard activities of Microsoft CRM, so service activities, appointments, phone calls, and so on, and some custom activities from our side to be built and to be used for time entry, and cases will show up as a possible alternative in Q1 2013.